Do you have a favorite fabric that is directional? Well, today we're going to be doing a deep dive on how to use those directional fabrics. Keep watching. Hi, it's Fran Morgan with Fabric Cafe, and I am your Fabric Matchmaker. Fabric Matchmaker is a series that we have here on YouTube that takes your fabric, the viewer and quilter, and send it in, and we will match it for you and select a pattern. It is one of the fun things we do here at Fabric Cafe because we love matching fabric. So let's get started with our very first participant. Our very first participant today, her name is Vicki, and she sent in this very sweet country calico fabric here. It's got a little bit of a lace background here and just a little rosette on the surface, which is just darling. So let's read the story from Vicki and see what she says about this great fabric. Vicki writes, "The fabric belonged to my Grandma Davis. She passed away in 1997, and I have had this fabric from her stash since then. Grandma Davis made her living making wedding dresses, bridesmaid dresses, cummerbunds, and bow ties, as well as doing alterations. I learned to sew for my Grandma Davis on her Singer 401A sewing machine. My grandma would also make herself dusters. I always remember her wearing a duster with two pockets, one for Kleenex and one for chapstick. This fabric was for her to make another duster before she passed away. I have been shy to make anything with it out of fear of goofing up. So thankful for your help." Well, Vicki, I think we have the perfect thing for you. Let's start by checking out the pattern we've chosen. I have chosen the Happy-Go-Lucky pattern for the fabric that you have sent in. And what we've done is we've chosen to place your fabric in the number 3 position, and I'll explain that more in just a minute. So your fabric will go here in this great band, which I think has so much fun and energy. And then we have a focus fabric and a number 2. So let's put this on the table and check it out. We have chosen to put Vicki's fabric in the position of number 3, and we are using the Happy-Go-Lucky pattern from the book Quick and Easy 3-Yard Quilts. Now, the reason why I have chosen to put Vicki's fabric in the number 3 position is because sometimes when we have a smaller print, the way Vicki's fabric is it doesn't create as much interest in a quilt as we would like, and the quilt can kind of turn out ho-hum sometimes. So what I have done is chosen to put a little bit larger fabric as the focus fabric, and this really sweet watercolor geranium here will go in this large band. Then we've chosen a nice number 2 that's kind of a solid. You can see how well it coordinates with this. That will go here in the background. And then the pinwheels will be made out of Vicki's fabric as number 3. Now what's going to happen with this is this white fabric is really going to pop Vicki's fabric in this blue. So your eye is going to be drawn to those pinwheels so that you really see this delightful fabric. So let's look at our favorite part and see the image on the screen. Now, as you can see, that gorgeous focus fabric really is soft and it plays down the wonderful pinwheels, and the pinwheels just pop off of the surface so well. So I think that this turned out lovely. So Vicki, thank you so much for participating today. Of course, for participating, I am going to be sending you 1 yard each of the fabric number 1 and the fabric number 2, as well as the book Quick and Easy 3-Yard Quilts. And this does have your Happy-Go-Lucky pattern in it. So that is awesome. Let's see what we've got for the rest of our viewers so that they can make a fun quilt as well. This gorgeous geranium, and it's just, I just love this. It's like a watercolor and it's just so fresh. I like that. Now we have our same number 2 as well. It's just a little bit of off-white with a tiny little pin dot. So I really, really like that. And then we have a very fun number 3 that's also a blue with a little pink flower on it. And you can see there on the screen, we have a lovely rendering for you so that you can see how that's going to make up and just how fun and sweet it is. So let's talk about that kit number. Kit number for you is 8022315. The name of the kit is Pocketful of Flowers. Pattern is Happy-Go-Lucky, and it is available in the Quick and Easy book or as an individual pattern. Now our next participant is Judy, and Judy sent me this great kind of a Navajo print, and I just love it because it has these beautiful blues and browns and everything that just I think are perfect for our home decor today. So let's read Judy's story and see what she says about this fabric. Judy writes, I came from a large family in Iowa. All but one of us 6 girls enjoy sewing. Even one of our brothers, who was battling cancer, worked on a quilt until he passed. Our mother and grandmother did a lot of sewing as well. At one time, I went to an auction and didn't know when to stop bidding. You cannot imagine all the fabric I ended up with. Sounds like something I would do. This fabric reminded me of my mom when they went to Texas in the winter times. Also, both my mother and I love John Wayne, and this fabric makes me think of him. I have no idea what fabrics to put with it or what pattern would be a good fit. Thanks for the help. Judy, this is a very sweet story. Thank you so much for sending it in and your fabric swatch. Let's check out the pattern that we've chosen for this. Now I have chosen the Friendship Star pattern for your fabric here, and this is really a very visually interesting quilt pattern, which I really like. And this large block here is where I would put your fabric, and then we've got a couple of companion pieces that will go here and then yours in the middle. So let's look at that and place it. So Judy, I just love this fabric that you sent in. I think it's very different, and it's not something that I see that often. So I really enjoyed doing all the shopping and pulling all of this together to make it just perfect for you. So we have placed your fabric in the number 1 position, which is the focus position. And as I said, it will go in this big block here, and then also in the small block in the center of the star. The number 2 fabric, which I think matches just perfectly, is this wonderful beige that has a little bit of gold in it, and it has this stripe, and that is going to be your background and a little bit on the border here. And then our number 3 fabric, which is kind of a multi-toned red, which is great because it picks up the little bit of red in your fabric, also with a little bit of gold to give it a little pizzazz, and also a beautiful fabric. It will be going in your stars and on the border here. Now, Judy, these 3 fabrics are all 3 directional fabrics. So in just a moment, we are going to step through and show everyone how to work with directional fabrics with our Friendship Star pattern. We appreciate you participating, and as always with our participants here on Matchmaker, we are going to be sending you the pattern, which is from the book Quick and Easy 3-Yard Quilts, as well as a 1-yard cut of the number 2 fabric and a 1-yard cut of the number 3 fabric. I almost forgot the most important thing. There is a beautiful image on the screen of the quilt all made up and the way it will look once, Judy, you do that. And you can see just how lovely and fun that turned out. And I think that you mentioned Texas in your letter, and I think it kind of has a little touch of that. So I think it's just perfect. Now for everyone else that would like to have something similar to Judy's, I've got a great kit for you. So this one, I was so excited to see that I was able to find kind of a similar Navajo print, which I just loved. And it also is a directional fabric, and of course it's going to go in your number 1 position. And then I have the same number 2 and 3 fabrics, and it's really cool because if you can see, it also blends so beautifully with this fabric. So I think it just turned out great. Now, I would like to take time now and show you those 5 steps for using directional fabric in our Friendship Star, because there's a few little tricks that we can use in working with directional fabric that makes it very successful every time. So let's do that. So I'm just going to grab my little stack of pieces and parts here and start working. Now, the first thing you want to do, step 1, is going to be pick the right pattern. And we have picked the Friendship Star, which is something that can be used with directional fabric, but with a little bit of extra effort. Now, if you are a regular YouTuber, and if you're not, you need to subscribe and become one, we do have a video on working with directional fabric, which can be very, very helpful. In this case, our friendship star is a little tricky, but it can be done. I'm going to show you. But pick a pattern that the squares do not need to be rotated. So for instance, if you're just cutting one square and you can turn that square any direction, that is fine. But if you make a square over and over and the square is rotated in order to get the quilt pattern, that could be a little tricky with directional fabric. So maybe shy away from those. So that would be the first step. The second step is to assign your fabric positions. So in this case, in our friendship star, as we always do, our fabric number 1 is represented by the dot, fabric number 2 as the white, fabric number 3 as the dark. So we have used our fabric, our Navajo print will be our fabric 1, our beige fabric 2, and our red as fabric 3. So, and as you can see here, we do have our squares cut and all of our units showing. So I'm going to just pull some of these pieces and parts over here so I can start showing you and working with them. So when you cut your fabric strips to start making your units and your half square triangles, the fabric, when it's cut off the bolt, creates the stripe this way, and it's a horizontal. So this would be a selvage here, and then your selvage would be down here. So this is how they would cut off. So the squares would be this way. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn them all to be horizontal. So when you cut little squares to make units, and of course we have that all stepped out for you in the pattern, this square can be turned any way whenever you're building your unit. So keep an eye on that to make sure that they're all going the same direction. Now the really tricky part are these half square triangles. So let's talk about that for just a minute. And I'm going to move some of these units over that I have done here. And as you can see, our objective here is to make sure that all of our lines on our half square triangles are going the same direction. So I'm going to go right into our step number 3 whenever you're doing directional fabric, and that is make a practice block. Go ahead and look at it, get some scrap fabric that is directional, and play with it and make sure you're going the same way. So in our case, and I thought this was really interesting because whenever I did it wrong the first time. So I had to go back and start over again. So here we have these here. And of course our regular blocks can be turned any way, so we're good there. It's just the half square triangles that we need to work on. So when you do a half square triangle, you have 2 blocks here from our number 2 and our number 3. And the intuition is to make them go the same way, put them together this way, and then whenever we make them, they would end up like this. And I'm going to move this up so you can see. Now, as you can tell, if I do it this way, I'm going to do that one more time. Our directions are the same way. We put it together, right sides together. We would draw our line across here. And then when we cut them apart, you can see that they do not go the same direction. So that's why we do a test square. So what you would do in this case on your friendship star is you're going to put your number 3 actually vertically and our number 2 horizontally. And then we put them right sides together. We draw a line, and I'm just going to put a little pin in these. I've got a little pin cushion right here so that you can see. Then you would, we're testing this just by folding it back. You see how that changes it, and all of the stripes are going the same direction. Now, whenever you make a half square triangle, it actually makes 2 half square triangles whenever you have the 2 squares put together this way. Fold it the other direction and it also works. And then as you can see, this will be this unit here. Now, one of the things that I really like to do is I like to look at my pattern and say, okay, that's the right half square triangle for unit B. I'm going to be making 12 of those. So I make all of unit B's first, and I don't even think about the other unit at this point, so that all of my half square triangles are going the same direction. So that would be the first thing. So to make the other units, Once again, I'm going to double check my fabric. So this half square triangle needs to be in a little bit different position. So I'm looking at it here. We've got them, you see one going up and down vertical, one horizontal. We're going to put them together. Okay, if I draw my line this way, the triangle's going to be like this, and it's not going to work. You see how it goes horizontal. However, if I take this and draw my line on this way and fold it back, it's perfect. So basically we're drawing the line the opposite direction on the fabric, and you can see how perfect that is. Now I actually have one in my pile here. You can see how we've already sewn it. Here's our line. We've got a scant quarter inch on each side of the line. You're going to cut on the line, but when you fold this back to open it, you can see how perfect that goes together. So that is your number 3 or number 4, I guess. The number 4 step, which I kind of just covered as well, is make sure you rotate your fabric the right way. And I encourage you to please look at it and test it before you make your unit. Make all the like units at the same time, and then test the next one to make sure it's going the right way. And then of course the number 5 step is going to be lay it out before you sew it together. Can't tell you how many times I have got everything perfect and it's all laid out and ready to go, and I accidentally get one of these turned and sew it together and don't realize it till my entire top is done. Or I get my blocks not square. So for instance, this block is just cut as a simple block. I would accidentally turn it this way. So always lay it out and make sure you check that before you go. So it's kind of a fun thing to play with directional fabrics. I really like it. I think it adds a little different element to my piecing, and I think it's a lot of fun. And let's not forget, we have that fantastic image on the screen. And as you can see, we've got all of that directional fabric going. It's vertical and it looks fantastic. You do it either way you want, horizontal or vertical, and it will of course look beautiful. Just love this quilt. And our kit number on that is 8022316. It is called Family Favorite, and of course the pattern is Friendship Star from the Quick and Easy book. Well, our next participant is Debbie, and Debbie sent in this darling Christopher Robin fabric. I thought it was so cute, and this is a very unusual fabric. I have not seen this one before, so I really, really like it. Was very excited about putting something together for you, Debbie. So let's see what Debbie has to say about this darling fabric. Debbie writes, I have always been a big fan of Winnie the Pooh. We even named our first son Christopher Robin. However, I have never found a fabric with Christopher Robin on it, so I had to buy this one whenever I saw it. I would love to make up a lap quilt for him now that he is all grown up. Please help. Well, Debbie, I think we've got something perfect for you. So let's look at our pattern. So the pattern that we have chosen for this one is Dash, and I think it's really great because we're going to be able to use your Christopher Robin fabric in one of these squares, because we do have a double focus on this. And then they're all blocked out and framed out here with our number 2 fabric, so it's going to really help it pop. So let's check out the extra fabric that we have for you. Now, as I have a tendency of doing, and I'm just going to mention this again, Debbie, I have placed your fabric in the number 3 position. And the reason why I have chosen to do that is because it is a little bit of a smaller print, and it is the darkest of all of the fabric in the grouping. So I have put it in number 3. However, I am using a pattern, Dash, that is a double focus, so it's still going to really shine in the quilt. So I have chosen this darling Winnie the Pooh fabric as our number 1, and it is a little bit bigger print so that we get that interest. That is going to go in this gray block here. So you're going to have Winnie the Pooh here as well as here. Our number 2 fabric is this lovely yellow, and that's going to frame everything. And then your number 3 fabric is going to be the Christopher Robin fabric that you sent in, and that is going to go in all of the red blocks. And once again, I want to mention the Christopher Robin fabric and the Pooh fabric are directional. Dash is the perfect pattern for directional fabric because we cut our blocks separately and then we piece them together. So it's going to work really, really well. So this is just absolutely darling, Debi. I appreciate you participating so much. Oh, I am just missing all those great images today. I want to show you that. So the image of Debi's quilt is on the screen and it just turned out lovely. And I do hope that your son, Christopher Robin, is still young at heart, because I think it is just darling and I think it's going to work out really, really well. So Debi, thank you so much for participating, and for being a participant, we're going to send you 1 yard of the Winnie the Pooh fabric and 1 yard of the No. 2 yellow fabric to go with your Christopher Robin fabric, as well as the book Easy Peasy 3-Yard Quilts. This book has the pattern Dash in it so that you can make that up for him. Now we have something equally fun for the rest of you. Let's check that out. I was so excited whenever I found this Winnie the Pooh fabric, because I just looked and looked and looked trying to find something in that same genre as the Christopher Robin fabric. And I just think it's darling and it looks so good in this pattern. So we have the same Pooh fabric that will go everywhere you see gray here. And then our background is the yellow, same as Debi's quilt, that will go in the background. And then we have this fun blue polka dot that's kind of the same coloring as Debi's Christopher Robin fabric, and that is going to go where the red is. And as you can see by the image on the screen, it just turned out lovely and just loved it. I know if I was a little one, I would want this quilt. Actually, I'm kind of little at heart, so I still like this, and I would love this quilt. So your quilt number, or your kit number on this one, is 8022317. It is called Christopher and Friends. The pattern is Dash, and it is from the Easy Peasy book. So thank all of our participants today for sending in your fabric swatches. I really greatly appreciate it. And if you would like to send in a swatch for the Fabric Matchmaker, if you'll just go to our website, hit the free goodies tab, and you will be able to find the submission sheet right there in our free goodies tab. I would love to match your fabrics, send those in. Always anxious to see something new. It's kind of like Christmas for me, and would love to help you out there. And I want to thank everyone so much, and to keep quilting and never ever forget how our quilting touches our family and friends. Thank you so much. It's Fran Morgan, your Fabric Matchmaker.